Welcome to Just the Tip Tuesday, a collaboration between Game Tech and Cut Right Mobile, your weekly source for 20 to 30 minutes of information that you never knew you wanted, but you
Some
definitely need.
sometimes a little longer.
Sometimes a little longer when we
Sometimes a little longer.
get a bit wordy, get a bit fired up. How you doing, brother?
Doing great.
Good, good. So, Uh, I'm gonna hit you up here for some things. So 2 days from when this launches, or 3 days from when this launches, I'm gonna be hunting. Right? My
Mm-hmm.
kids have tags that allow an elk, to be killed before the August 30th typical opening. With any weapon, and we're gonna be killing some elk. So last year, Luke, my 14 at the time, 15 now, killed a really nice animal. I've told that story somewhere in the past on
Mm-hmm.
on this platform. I got attacked by bees and had 17 yellow jacket stings and everything else. My head looked like the effing Toxic Avenger. My palm was the size of a cantaloupe. Sat on the tailgate of the truck. Luke asked if he needed to drive home. I wasn't sure. Had a sugary Coke and a couple cookies and felt well enough to drive home, and then was pretty beat up for several days. It was also the first elk hunting trip where he looked at me. He's like, "Dad, you don't look good." And I said, "Yeah, no shit. I don't feel good." And he let me do literally just carry my pack, and he packed out his entire elk himself in the time that it took me to just walk to the truck with my pack on.
Right.
So this one, I know several of you have this tag as well, or a tag in a different unit, I hope. Get off my lawn, stay out of my unit. In a similar vein, and we'll be doing some hot weather hunts, and this
Mm.
could even go to early September. It's hot. So
And I
I'm
know a
gonna
lot of antelope hunts are early August. A
yes.
lot of them start early too, and so there's
So
a
I'm
lot
gonna
of people
give
hunting.
you the big bald headed guy from North Idaho's several, because I don't know how many it'll end up being, tips for hunting animals on high heat warning days. So, and
Yep.
Ryan, hearing that's our topic for today.
Mm-hmm.
What's your number one tip for hot weather hunting? Not hot weather hunting, extreme heat warning hunting days. And you are very welcome to say stay at home and go to the beach as your number one tip.
Go golfing. I
Yeah,
There's so many people. I hear so many things that people hate golfing, and I'm like, I love it. I
I
get
love
outdoors
golfing.
too, and
Yeah,
so if you hate it and you don't want to golf, that's on you. But
yeah,
beside that, my number one point, and I think I've mentioned this before in
yeah.
hot weather hunting, and I've been guilty of this where you shoot your animal, you get all the way to the truck after a 5 mile hike or whatever, and you get to a cooler with no ice or nothing
Boom.
in it. I have done that so many times, and in some seasons it's not that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
But in August, having ice in the cooler, I
Pretty
think
cool to
some
cooler.
I think it's a must to put it in.
I love it.
And it's not that much. I mean, you grab a milk jug, fill it with ice, put it in the freezer, throw that milk jug in the cooler.
Or if you don't have the ability, wherewithal, the milk jug, whatever, to do that, you know you're going to go fill your rig up with fuel the night before you drive to your hunt, or on
Right.
the not the morning of, the night before you're going to fill up because you're going to leave at 1 in the morning to go hunt this hot weather. Grab 2 bags of ice and throw it in your cooler. You might say, like, oh, the cooler will be hot, it'll melt. Yeah, it very well may. No one cares. It'll cool that cooler down. And I will say, if you're using a grizzly cooler, the meat shelf will be on top of it. So leave that effing cold water in there. So here's some tips that I have. I love that tip, by the way. Number one, when I go hunting, the most important thing to me, it's not the horns, it's not the size of the animal, it's not the ivories, it's not anything except the meat. That's the most limited resource in my freezer. It's the most limited resource in my home is the wild game that we have frozen. And I got to tell you, that's why we made the switch a couple years ago to initial ascent packs. They simply carry heavy loads more comfortably. Being a professional butcher, when my clients ask me, hey, what should I use? My pack's hurting, my back, etc. It's super important to be able to get heavy loads out of the mountains quickly, efficiently, and comfortably. And then have the wherewithal, because you're not overly sore because the pack's so comfortable, to be able to deal with your meat back at camp, to be able to deal with it at home, to be able to do what you need to do. Maybe your buddy has a tag that you need to go out and help him hunt now. And that's the reason we paired up with Initial Ascent. We started rocking Initial Ascent packs. They have saved my butt more times than I can count. And like I said, being a butcher, the most important thing on any of our hunts, but especially on my hunts, is the meat. And I'm not going to sacrifice my body to pack it out when I have, quite honestly, the most comfortable backpack and frame system that, in my opinion, has ever been produced for hunting. Initial Ascent, carry heavy loads more comfortably. Know your limitations. And I'm not talking your physical in shape limitations. You can go forever. You, much like
Mhm.
the story I posted 3 weeks ago, choose to drag a sled around the neighborhood in 100-degree heat. Like, great, you're in shape. You have the body of a Greek god. Good for frickin' you. But
I
your knife,
appreciate it. Thank you.
there was, if there were two
Thank you.
people on this podcast that I weren't talking to, it would be you and then me, right?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I mean, you look a Greek god that just had a cherub baby. So, no, I'm talking
uh,
your limitations with the knife. Know how long it takes you to field dress an elk. If you've never field dressed an elk before, this is not the time to figure it out. This is not the time to kill your first elk on a extreme heat warning day or a day where you know it's going to be 98 degrees or whatever. This is not the hunt for you. After you've killed several elk and know how long it takes you, and then it's fine. And maybe you've killed a bunch of deer and you're like, oh, it only takes me half an hour to do a deer. That's fantastic. But I want you to think, unless it's a really banger deer, basically the four quarters of that deer are going to weigh as much as the hind quarter of the big cow that you're going to take down in early August.
right.
And if you are not ready for that and you do not know how long the time you need, don't do this. Don't do that hunt. So know your limitations with the knife when field dressing an animal. And also, like, look at the terrain where you kill the animal. All right, if the animal dies on this flat land, I know I need an hour and a half. If it dies in that hole and it rolls down there, I'm going to need significantly longer. All of that needs to come into play with the dead. I will not squeeze the trigger regardless of how good the shot is at this time. Right? If you know you need an hour, I wouldn't squeeze that trigger past 5:30 a.m. If you know you need an hour and a half, bump that up a little bit, right? Like, or look at the weather. Like, the weather's usually pretty good at predicting, like, all right, at 10 p.m., it's now going to be 83 degrees. Are you good with field dressing an elk in 83-degree weather? Like, can you get it done? Like, is it going to take you long? Right? So, and
Right.
also, this is also a hunt where you don't want to take a questionable shot, right? You don't want to be like, I think I can squeeze that one in. And then you end up hitting it in the guts and it runs around for 5.5 hours. Like, don't take that shot because you're not going to find that animal. And when you do find that animal, it's going to be at noon and it's likely going to be some wasted meat. So it needs to be, you need to basically go on an elk grocery shopping trip as opposed to a full on, like, and if it takes you a couple days to pattern them and know where to get your setup, like, do that as opposed to take a questionable shot at 5:30 in the morning. Like, make
What?
sure your shot is a kill shot.
How long if the temperature is 80 degrees
Uh-huh.
and up? How long does that process of spoilage begin? Like, how long do you have? If you
Direct
get
sun or shade?
shade, because you can drag it to
Oh,
underneath the
frick.
tree.
I mean, so I
And
can't give you a scientific number. I don't have the scientific data on that. I have killed elk with my kids, multiple elk, and have on a day where I hunted, it was 104. It's too hot to do anything except sit in the shade. And in the shade, it was 80 degrees. And we hung meat in 80-degree weather as long as there was a breeze on it. Now, with that, there are certain things to do, and we can talk about this, when I get back. Like, you definitely want to split the cuts down to the bone to release that metabolic heat from the bone. We've talked about that before on
yeah,
multiple
we have.
platforms and avenues. And So you want to get that heat to dissipate as much as possible. You have a lot of time if it's 80 degrees in the shade. Now, if it's 80 degrees in the sun and that temperature's climbing, you're on the clock. I like to have the animal if there's no shade and the animal's dead, I give myself max. Even if it's 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning, and those hot August days, right? We all did
Oh
tour
yeah,
days for football with them. 8 o'clock, it's already hot. Like
yeah,
I give myself like by the time I get to that animal, let's grab some pictures, let's do our thing. I have an hour and a half, and this needs to be off and in the shade. If it's in the sun, etc., right? Like when it's
right.
dead. So know your knife work, also be able to find some shade, no cool the cooler. The next thing I would say is have some FTB powder, some F them bees powder. Because, hold on, I dropped my pen. When you are field dressing an animal in that heat, regardless of where it dies, in mid September, we have yellow jackets. If you really want to see what yellow jackets can cause, kill something in early August. And there's no yellow jackets. We're taking pictures. It's great. It's fun. Like we'll stick the tongue back in the mouth, do this, do that, do all these pictures. No yellow jackets. It's great. The moment you make that cut, the initial cut going down the spine or
Mm-hmm.
around that hind quarter to around the lower leg and peel it up, all of a sudden there's two yellow jackets. By the time you get the hide pulled off, now there's, 80 yellow jackets. By the time you starts to get blood and you cut that femoral artery and blood starts squirting, now there's 200 yellow jackets. FTB stands for F them bees. It's not a special powder, although I still think I may market it in the coming years as it. Go to Costco and buy coarse ground black pepper. I think it's
Yeah.
$3.99. Dump it into a Ziploc bag. And once you get that hide pulled down off the animal, sprinkle it liberally all over top of the meat. It's not going to ruin your meat. It's not salt. It's not going to dehydrate the meat. You're going to trim the top part of that meat off anyway. Bees do not like black pepper. I promise you that. They do not. It'll decrease the amount of yellow jackets around your meat by 95%. It'll make it completely workable and doable, and you will thank me in the long run. Um, Hands down, those that don't ever go. Heck, I wouldn't even go on a September archery hunt without some black pepper in a Ziploc bag. Plus, if you don't need it, you kill something at night, they're not around. Now you have some seasoning when you fry up the tenderloin if you're in the backcountry,
Well,
right?
and last year in my September bull that I shot, I probably killed 15 bees
Oh,
off of
yeah.
it. Like I wasn't getting swarmed. I mean, there wasn't thousands. I didn't get stung 17 times, but I was like, Mike got stung a lot of times. I'm killing these when I see.
So let's review.
Um,
Pre-cool your cooler. Know your shot. Make it a kill shot. Do not injure that animal. If you've never killed an elk before, this is not the hunt for you. Know your limitations as the field dresser. Know the limitations of your knife work. Number 5, have the FTB powder. Have the coarse ground black
mhm.
pepper. Number 6, have some shade nearby in case you can't hike that elk out all by yourself. Worst case scenario, there's no trees to hang it up in or whatever. Figure out a way to just prop it up against, a willow bush or whatever, just so the whole thing's not laying flat against the ground, even a little bit of it's up. And so some wind, just get it in the shade if you need to make multiple trips to get it out of there. And I would
Mhm.
say the number 7 tip that I have, and this would be the last one, maybe you're not a water reservoir guy. Maybe you're not a bladder in your backpack or whatever type guy. You better damn well make sure you have a lot of water because the amount of sweating you're going to do, right? Field dressing an animal in September is nothing like early August. You are going to be pouring sweat. Make sure
Right.
you have a lot of water because if you've killed that animal more than a mile from the truck, even a mile is a long freaking way when it's like 95 degrees packing out, you are going to need water. So don't leave your truck being like, oh, they're usually here just a mile away. It's not hilly. I'm going to take one water bottle. Buddy, I mean, you like someone's just going to put a screwdriver to you because you are screwed with one bottle of water. Like, I can tell you, I've done that not with the bottle of water, but the 1 mile from the truck kill, and I go through 100 fluid ounces in 1 mile. Like, after field dressing and everything, I mean, I
Oh,
drink like a camel. I am so soaking wet. Um, those would be my top 7, man. I think if you
yeah,
get
I
those
like
top
them.
7 and you can recognize your limitations, either as a shooter or as your knife work, you will have a very successful hunt. Right. The most important thing, hunt butcher eats the motto. The most important thing is getting that meat off of the mountain in a
Right.
consumable format. And so, it never hurts like other tidbits. It's better to slice the sirloin tip, the top round, the bottom round, whatever, down to the bone, right through the center, than to let the whole damn thing spoil. Right? There's tips and tricks, and I'll go over them when I get an animal in front of me and post them up, and we'll put them on the website and the socials on where to cut and things like that. But cut down to that bone, release that heat, right? And the other thing, when you're packing out, that meat's on your back. When you stop to take a rest, okay, I'm sorry, I think you put your own comfort second. You put the quality of that meat first. If there's just a
Right.
little bit of shade and you need to stop, you're like, I need shade, I'm going to die. One, if you're going to die, you probably shouldn't be out there hunting anyway. Two, put the meat in the shade. You can stand your big sweaty ass up in the heat for 5 minutes and drink some water, then throw your pack back on, set your pack in the shade. Even that little 6 degree difference in the shade of a tree for that meat is going to help it out.
Save some time at least.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's it, man. Like I said, I've been doing these hunts, these early August hunts for quite some time, and I wouldn't let my kid take a shot that wasn't 100% dead right away. I also won't. I have a very strict time limit. So for me, you may say like, well, I don't know. I don't know how long it takes me. I never really do that. For me, moving the fastest I've ever moved field dressing an elk was last year. It took me 52 minutes from very first cut to very last cut of pulling that heart out to get that elk completely done. And I can tell you, I was flying, right? I always safe with the knife work and stuff like that. But that was one, it was getting so hot at 6 in the morning. I wouldn't let my son even touch a knife. I just had him holding the leg. And that's the other thing. If you're doing this solo, add
Takes
an
more
hour.
time.
Add an hour. Whatever you think you're going to do, add an hour. I had Luke holding the leg, and he's like, well, let me cut. You look horrible. You got so many stings on your head. I'm like, just shut up, move the leg this way. And I'm slicing and dicing and getting it off. So 52 minutes, that's my record for field dressing an elk as fast as I possibly could and getting the cuts that I
Uh-huh.
really wanted to maintain. So, just in case you're looking for a reference point there, that's coming from a guy who's probably field dressed. I have not killed hundreds of elk, but like in my butchering business, people bring whole animals to me. Like I've definitely field dressed and quartered out hundreds of elk in my day.
Right. Well, and yeah, I've never timed me, but I know it's longer than 52 minutes, definitely by myself.
Yeah.
Last year I was like, man, I might be able to finish this, get a quarter out, come back, grab another quarter, before dark. And then I was hiking out with the first quarter and I was like, oh, it's dark soon.
Well, that's the other thing too. A lot of people think, oh, it's fine. There's no trees around. We'll just drag it. All right. Maybe you have never had to drag an elk before. Even if you're on that elk that dies on a logging or skid road, buddy, you ain't dragging that elk. Right?
No,
There is like maybe,
what?
maybe you could drag that elk. You're not dragging a freaking elk. Like
No,
you're doing it
I
where it
roll the
lays.
elk. I roll them to a tree.
Yes, if it's a hill, but if it's flat,
Yeah.
like what are you going to grab? The two hindquarters and move those a foot, then move to the front quarters, move. Man, you've just done 300, not 300, you've done 150, 300 pound deadlifts doing that. Like if you do that, then there's no way you're going to field dress the damn thing and bend over it for a couple hours getting it done. Like plan on doing it where it lays, unless it's on a steep slope and you can roll it a little bit.
Get it into a little tree or something.
Yep, absolutely. So
Okay.
much success to my fellow hunters that are gonna brave the weather in a couple
Yeah.
days. It's
Good luck in the heat.
it's gonna be it's gonna be stuff stories are made of.
Yeah. I don't want any pictures of you wearing your camo shorts. So,
Buddy, camo shorts. I have a man thong. I have a camo man thong, full on G-string man thong to go with my man bun I'm taping on my head for the 6'5".
yeah.
So, oh God, that would be something else, wouldn't it?
Definitely don't post that.
I will not do that. Thanks for listening, guys. Shoot straight and send us your success pictures.
Thank you guys. Whether you're deep in the backcountry, field dressing your game, learning to butcher to perfection, or cooking up the meal that honors the hunt, Cut Right is your ultimate guide. Cut Right puts expert knowledge at your fingertips. Master field dressing right on the mountain, learn step-by-step butchering techniques, and discover incredible ways to prepare your harvest. It's not just about the hunt, it's about the whole journey. Download the Cut Right mobile app where apps are downloaded today and elevate your wild game experience.